First, we must stop the disease spreading to a point where it overwhelms our NHS. And every country in the world has the same problem. This is a disease that is so dangerous and so infectious that without drastic measures to check its progress, it would overwhelm any health system in the world. And I've used the Italian health system. It is excellent. And the problem is not with the health systems, it's the numbers of sufferers.
That's the normal peacetime route to bringing a vaccine into human use.
That, unlike the usual pattern of clinical trials, which are done one after another, the development of this vaccine has been adapted so that the trials are overlapping and the next one can start before a particular phase has finished. And in this way, we have been able to progress development in the shortest time possible.
On the question of what happens once you've had the vaccine, now, of course, in the first instance, we do not yet have reliable data on whether a vaccine not only protects you, which we do have a high degree of confidence, subject to the MHRA that I was talking about in my comments. We do have a high degree of confidence that the 3 vaccines so far protect the person who's been vaccinated, but the impact on whether you transmit the virus is not as clear from the data so far, and therefore, in the first instance, our approach will be to watch the indicators that we watch all of the time, the case rate amongst the over 60s, and the positivity rate, and to see the impact of that on the vaccine and the vaccine program on the pandemic.
I enormously value their input. It's our job in government to make sure that we are ready to deploy this vaccine should it be licensed and should it be that safety data come off. But also, critically, and I suppose this is the central point about why we are being cautious as well as obviously happy at the news, is because we've got to stick with it in the meantime. You know, if this virus rolls out, it takes 3 weeks between the 2 doses that you mentioned.
And finally, Sir John, the question everybody's asking you, when? When will it be? When can I have one?
Yeah, so as you may have spotted, there's a wide range of views on this subject. I'm hopeful we're going to start to get a readout early in the autumn as to whether this thing works or not. A lot of this depends on the intensity of infection. So in order to get a readout, you have to have a certain number of incident cases in the control vaccine population. And that then tells you that you can look at the real vaccinated population and see whether they've been protected. So I'm hoping that's going to happen pretty smartly this autumn. But then don't forget, these vaccines are unlikely to completely sterilize a population. They're very likely to have an effect which works in a percentage, say 60 or 70%. We'll have to look quite carefully, and the regulators will have to look quite carefully to make sure that it's done what we need it to do before it gets approved. So there will be a delay between the outcome of the trial and a decision whether it can be approved as a vaccine.